Hello everyone, my name is Samiksha and the topic that we will be discussing today is direction sense test. Now this is another topic that you can find questions on all the exams that you will be targeting. So without wasting time, let's quickly get started in discussing this topic. Okay, so first thing that you need to understand for this chapter of direction sense is identifying the directions. Now you'd say this is a very silly point, isn't it? Because you already know the direction, but still let's just quickly give them a try. Okay, so the figure that you see on the screen is actually showing you the different directions that we have. Now the directions that you see in the figure are basically north, south, east and west. Okay, these are our main directions. Now apart from these, there are another 4 directions that I would like you guys to consider. Now what are those? The direction that lies in between north and east, we call it as northeast. The one between east and south is called as southeast. The one between west and south is called as southwest. And the last one that lies between north and west is called as northwest. So the ones that I've written in blue, these are called as my sub-direction. So in direction sense, whenever there's a question regarding direction identification, you'll have to think about these 8 directions. Our first main directions are east, west, north, south, and the sub directions are the combinations of, like say, northeast, northwest, southeast and southwest. Another thing, sometimes there's no confusion in identifying your north and south. Why? Because we just draw a vertical line and we say towards top. That would be north, and opposite to north is south. Now the confusion could be regarding where is west and where is east. There's sometimes a confusion. Okay, so you can do it this way. You can remember the word V. Okay, now in V you have W to the left side and east to the right hand side. And if you see, that's actually the order how east and west are in position. Idea clear, everybody? Okay, so this is with respect to understanding what are the directions. Now coming to the questions, how are you going to imply this, or how these directions are going to be asked with respect to a question. So let's say if I ask you, that is I give you a point, say this is a point A, and I ask you what is the direction of this point A. Now what could be your answer? Now there could be multiple answers. Okay, now one thing somebody might say that this point A is towards the east direction. This could be the most common wrong answer that you can give to this question. Reason being what? Immediately when I put this point A onto the plot, you would take the reference of this direction sense chart that I've made on the left, and you can see this point A lies to the right hand side of the screen. So you might say the answer is east. Remember, this is wrong. Second thing, somebody might take the reference of this screen and probably according to his or her own orientation plot down the directions onto the left or the right side of this circle that I have drawn, and accordingly you might have different set of directions. Let's say if I have the direction plot onto the left hand side, somebody might say this is towards the northeast direction. If I take reference of this right hand side plot, I would say my direction is northwest. So there could be multiple answers. So to solve this confusion, what you need to keep in mind is, in direction sense, if there is a single point, you can never decide its direction. You'll always need a set of minimum 2 points. That is, if I can draw, or if I can take a plot, a point B towards bottom of A. Now if I ask you what is the direction of point A, yes, I can automatically tell with the reference of B, it's to the top, so our direction is north. Okay, so this is one important point in direction sense that you'll remember is, you cannot have a single point to identify a direction, but instead will require minimum 2 points for identification of direction. Idea clear? Okay, so this was all about understanding directions. Now the second point is, on which you can again expect question, is distance calculation. Okay, now why did I have this entire slide kept blank? The reason is, we'll see different cases, and based on that how can we calculate distances. So if I take some default plot like this, okay, where the x1 variables that you can see, those are representing the horizontal directions, and y1 and y2 are representing vertical directions. Now if this is the figure and the question says calculate the horizontal distance. Now horizontal means something like this, right? Now what is the horizontal distance? As I said, obviously it would be summation of x, that is x1 plus x2 plus x3. The next direction calculation could be, they would ask you what is the vertical distance, okay, and precisely this vertical distance I am considering from the point A to B. So vertical, that means something like this, and vertically I can say it should be summation of y, that is y1 plus y2. Now these two are very easy. Now the third type of distance calculation that you might come across would be, they would either say calculate the distance between point A and B, or they would use the word calculate minimum distance between the point A and B. So now this is something which is important. Now sometimes the word minimum would be there, sometimes it won't be there. So if they are just saying calculate distance between those 2 points they have given, you are always supposed to find the minimum distance between them. Okay, now minimum distance has nothing to do with the horizontal and vertical distance. That means don't even think that this distance between A and B is simply summation x plus summation y. Obviously it is the distance between A and B, but is it the minimum one? No. To calculate minimum one, what you'll have to do, say if this is this figure that we have currently with us, and I'll have to calculate the minimum distance, all I will do is I will join those 2 points A and B and form a right angle triangle. Okay, and let's say this point is C, and the length AB that you see in the figure right now is the minimum distance between those 2 points. Now if it's a right angle triangle and length AB is the distance I need, how do we find? This is basically the hypotenuse of the triangle. And how do we find hypotenuse? Obviously by using Pythagoras theorem. So we are not supposed to do this, but instead we will use Pythagoras theorem in order to find the minimum distance between those 2 points. And how we will do that? It would be AB square is equal to AC square plus BC square. So that means AB would be root of AC plus BC. This would be your minimum distance between those 2 points. Idea clear? Now obviously depending upon question to question, this measurement of your horizontal and vertical distance, that means AC if you see is the horizontal distance here, and BC is actually the vertical distance here. So basically over here for this respective figure I could simply say it is summation x the whole square plus summation y the whole square. But say if your figure is kind of like, if I take a different figure, let's say something like this. Okay, this is your point A and this is your point B. This is y1, this is y2, and this is x1. Now in this case, if I need to find the length AB, again obviously I'll use Pythagoras theorem only, isn't it? And this is point C. But this time, if you try to look at this vertical distance, how much is it? Is it y1 plus y2? No, it is y1 minus y2. The horizontal distance, yes, obviously it is x1. So in this case, if I need AB, it would be bracket of x1 the whole square plus y1 minus y2 the whole square. So what I'm trying to tell you is, depending upon your figure, always these lengths of these sides, the lengths of the sides of that of that right angle triangle that you have will not be always the summation of horizontal and the summation of vertical distances ka square. It might be different. So according to your figure, properly first of all draw your figure and identify what distances are there. Idea clear? Now what we will do, we have discussed the theory. Now let's quickly dig in with the different types of question. So here we go. This is the first kind of question. It says distance and direction based question. Okay, and these are the ones which you can prominently find for the chapter of, for the questions coming up from this chapter of direction sense. So let's start. What is your job? Read the question, draw the figure, and from the figure deduce out your correct answer and select your option. Alright, so let's start. So they say starting from a point, a person walks 12 meters north. So let's say this is the starting point. Okay, so the person is going 12 meters north. So this is 12 meters to the north. Now he turns right. Now many times we have a confusion which side is right. So assume as if you are traversing this journey. So your right and the person's right would be same, and accordingly the confusion I think should be sorted. So let's say, so I am going towards north, then the person is turning right. So which is my right hand side? This is my right hand side. Okay, so I turn right and travel 10 meters. Now do one thing, you're not supposed to draw these figures using scale and pencil and with proper measurement, but when you're drawing, draw it realistically so that your 12-meter line and your 10-meter line, they're justifiable. You can see in the figure the 12-meter is slightly lengthier, the 10-meter one is slightly shorter. Alright, keep that convention. Now again, further they say he again turns right and walks 12 meters. Now person went to the north and turned right. Okay, now how am I facing? I'm facing like this. So which is my right hand side? This way. So that means when I'm facing towards east, this is kind of like moving towards east. So from east, if I'm going to the right side, where will I land? I'll actually come towards south. So this person is again coming down, and this distance is also 12 meters. Now they are again saying he turned left and walked 5 meters. Now if he's turning left from here, obviously when you're facing south, that means your left and right will get interchanged, right? So if I'm going to the left, that means I'll go to this side. And this distance they are saying is another 5 meters. And this is the ending point the person reaches. So this is point A and this is point B. That is our end point. Now what am I supposed to find? How far is he now and in which direction from the starting point? So basically I need the distance as well as I need the direction. Now for the direction point of view, if I start with respect to A, I need to figure out where am I standing right now, right? So with respect to A, where is the point B? It is to the right hand side. So to the right hand side, and if you see, both the points are at the same level. So what should be the direction? But obviously the direction should be east. And now coming to the distance part, now do I have to draw a right angle triangle here? No, not necessary, because both the points are in a straight line. So what is the distance? This distance, this length, it's actually the horizontal distance that you see on the top, that is 10 meters, and this 5 meters. So 10 plus 5, what is the distance that I'm having? The distance is 50 meters. So your answer is 15 meters towards east. Idea clear, everybody? Now one different thing that you see over here is there is no necessity of Pythagoras theorem to calculate the distance. That means what? Will every question in exam also not need Pythagoras theorem? Not necessary. It is subject to the story and the diagram that you are drawing. So be careful while reading and plotting down your plot. Alright, let's move to the next question that we have. Now again, it is distance and direction based question. So read, draw figure and then decide whether to use Pythagoras or to not. So what are they saying? Madhuri travels 14 kilometers westwards. So let's say this is her starting point and she is traveling towards west. So she travels 14 kilometers towards west. Then she turns left and travels 6 kilometers. Now from this point, if it's left, that means she'll go towards the bottom, and this distance is 6 kilometers. Now what is happening? Now further, she turns left and travels 26 kilometers. So from here, if I go to the left hand side, this should be the distance, and it's 26 kilometers. So obviously it has to be lengthier or longer than your 14 kilometer distance. So she travels 26 kilometers and what? She stops here. So this is our point A and this is our point B. And we need to find how far is she from her starting location. Now what do you see? Are the points A and B in a straight line? Obviously not. So when I'm joining them to find the distance, I'll have to use Pythagoras theorem. So let's do that. Let's draw a right angle triangle first of all. This is point C, and let's now figure out the distances. So for BC, if I see, it's the same vertical distance, isn't it? So BC is 6 kilometers. Now for horizontal distance, if I look for, the entire thing is 26 and this section is 14. So this AC has to be 26 minus 14, which gives us 12 kilometers. So now I have the adjacent sides of the right angle triangle available with me. So let's use this, the Pythagoras theorem. So AB square is equal to AC square plus BC square. So AC square, AC is 12 square and BC is 6 square. 12 square is 144, 6 square is 36. So if we add this up, this gives us a total of 6 and 4, 10. 4 and 4 is 8 and that's 180. So AB square is 180. That means AB will be root of 180. So do we have any option of root of 180 in the options? No. So that is why I'll select the option of none of these. Idea clear, everybody? So see, we have seen two questions. One which was using Pythagoras theorem, the other which was not. So it's entirely dependent upon the question that you have. Great. Let's move to the next variety of question now. So first type is done where we draw figure and stuff. The second one is based on directions and turns. This is another interesting type. Let's see how it is done. So they say a man is facing towards west, turns 45 degree clockwise, then 180 degree clockwise, then 270 degrees anti-clockwise, and then in which direction is the person facing. Now for such questions, one way could obviously be, you draw a proper figure and see how the person is turning. That means actually realize the angles that are there. But a better way could be, you could just follow this approach. What is that approach? If any degree that is given in clockwise, you will add or you will take them with positive sign, and if you have any angle degree that is given in anti-clockwise, we'll take them with a minus sign, then add, subtract those numbers, and then finally see with the last number that we have left with, what angle are we actually supposed to realize. So either ways in this, what would happen with the approach that I am telling you, you'll have to realize just a single angle, okay, instead of realizing all of them together. So let's see what happens. So they say the person is traveling 45 degrees clockwise, so plus 45 degrees, then 180 degrees clockwise, so plus 180 degrees, and then 270 degrees anti-clockwise, so minus 270 degrees. So let's add, subtract this thing. This is the net angle that I'm gonna get. So how much is it? 45 and 180 if we add, this is 5, 8 and 4 is 12, and carry 1, that is 225 minus 270. So basically this difference that I am getting will have a negative sign because 270 is a larger term, and 270 minus 225, that would give us minus 45 degrees. So now we'll have to just realize 45 degrees, and with minus sign, that means how are we supposed to rotate? We're supposed to rotate anti-clockwise. Now from where? From the starting location. So where is the starting location? A man is facing towards west. So the person is actually facing towards west. And now from west, where are we supposed to rotate? From west, we have to rotate 45 degrees anti-clockwise. So west to south, it's a transition of 90 degrees. So 45 would be in between it. So in between south and west, what would be the direction? It would be southwest. So your correct answer for this question would be option D. Idea clear? A very simple and easy question. Fine. Let's move now quickly to the next. What are they saying? At sunrise, Amit and Deepak are having a conversation standing in front of each other. The shadow of Deepak is formed towards the right hand of Amit. So what direction is Deepak facing? Now how would we solve this question? First of all, where is your light source? It's at sunrise, so it's in the east direction. So let me draw a figure. Alright, so these are my directions and my sun is in the east direction. Now further what they are saying, that Amit and Deepak, they are having a conversation standing in front of each other, and the shadow of Deepak is formed towards the right hand of Amit. Now just imagine, if these two people were actually facing each other and they were placed in east-west direction, will their shadow ever fall in right or left side of them? No, it's either gonna get formed in front of them or to the back side of them. So this tells us, in any case, this particular question will not have answers like east or west. Okay, this is a point to consider in these kinds of questions. Next point, if it's not east and west, what could be the next combination that we can try? We can try northwest. Now in northwest, who will be placed in north and who will be placed in south? We're not sure. So let's make two cases. So in first case, let's say Amit faces south and Deepak faces north, and in second case, let Amit face north and Deepak face south. Now we have drawn both the conditions. Now let's see whose shadow are they concerned about. They are concerned about shadow of Deepak. Now in both the cases, since the sun is over here on the right hand side, we'll draw Deepak's shadow. So this green dot that I have drawn in both the cases will signify the direction or the location of Deepak's shadow. Now this Deepak's shadow should be formed where? It should form towards the right hand of Amit. Now in this first case where Amit is facing south, can I say this purple circle will actually denote what? The right hand side of Amit, isn't it? And in the second case here, this purple circle will determine the right side of Amit. Now what we need? Both these dots, they should be on the same side. So which case gives you that? Obviously the case number 1. And this is your correct case, the second case is wrong. And in this case, what do we need? What direction is Deepak facing? So where do we see Deepak facing in this case? Obviously is facing towards north. So your answer would be option D. Idea clear, everybody? Great. Now let's quickly move to the last type of question that you get in direction sets. It's based on direction and clock. This is the simplest type that you get in direction sense. All you have to do is, first of all, draw a clock. So let me quickly draw a clock for you, and then based on the data that they have given, we'll have to plot the directions onto this clock. Now while you're doing that, one important thing to keep in mind, do not rotate your clock. Okay, rotate the directions. If you rotate your clock, then it would become a little difficult for you to understand how and what time is to be realized. Alright, so what are they saying? At 12 noon, the clock is placed in such a way that at 12 noon, its minute hand points towards northeast. So if it's 12 noon, this would be the position of your hour and minute hand, right? And this direction is actually pointing northeast. Now from this data, you are actually supposed to find what are or how the other directions should be superimposed on your image of clock. So basically, regularly this is north and this is east, and this direction in between them is called as northeast. Now do what? Assume as if you are facing towards northeast. So if you are facing towards northeast, can I say to the right I am having east and to the left direction I am having north? So let me follow the same transition here. To the right I have east and to the left I have north. Okay, so if this is north, the opposite to north would be south, and if this side is east, opposite to east I'll have west. That is how I am plotting my main direction. And for the sub direction, it's very easy. The intermediate one, this is southeast, this point would be southwest, and this point would be northwest. Now what am I supposed to find? They tell me that now when the clock is pointing 1:30, or the time shown in the clock is 1:30. So your hour and minute hand would be these black arrows that I have drawn, right? So at 1:30 they are asking you, where is your hour hand pointing? So where do you see the hour hand pointing? It's pointing towards east. So your answer would be option C, a very convenient one. This is the simplest type you can expect. If you get this in exam, you're very lucky. Understand that. So this completes the different types of question that come up. Now let's just do one simple practice question and end this up. Okay, so this question is actually asking you to plot something, and based on that they have asked you two questions. So let's quickly do it. So they have on a playground, Dinesh, Kunal, Nitin, Atul and Prashant are standing in a described manner facing north, and there's some data given. Alright, so let's try to plot it. They say Kunal is 40 meters to the right of Atul. So let's start with Atul. This is Atul, and Kunal is 40 meters to the right of Atul. Okay, so this is Kunal, who is 40 meters to the right of Atul. Dinesh is 60 meters to the south of Kunal. So if this is Kunal, Dinesh is all the way around 60 meters to the south. So this is Dinesh. Then Nitin is 25 meters to the west of Atul. So this is 25 meters, and this is, who is that guy? This is Nitin. Alright, then they say Prashant is 90 meters to the north of Dinesh. So this is Dinesh, and Prashant is 90 meters to the north of Dinesh. So this is 60, and Prashant is 90 meters. So this is 60. So this is going to be 30 meters, and this would be Prashant. So this is the diagram that we have. Now what are we supposed to do? They are asking you who is northeast of the person who is to the left of Kunal. If you check to the left of Kunal, we have Atul as well as we have Nitin. So you could take reference of any one of them because both are to the left of Kunal. And then they are saying whoever is to the left of Kunal, that person's northeast direction is located by which of the guy. So I can take reference of Atul. So with reference to Atul, who is to the northeast? So north, that means on the top, and east, that means on the right hand side. So kind of like this direction. So who is the person? It's obviously Prashant. Even if you take reference of Nitin, it would still mean the same. Check northeast, top, right hand side. So our answer would be Prashant. It's not there in the option. So your answer would be none of these. Then going to the next one. A boy walks from Nitin. Okay, so let's see how this transition is going. A boy walks from Nitin, meets Atul, followed by Kunal, then to Dinesh, and then all the way back to Prashant. What is the total distance that person has traveled? So it will be addition of all this. So 25 plus 40 plus 60 plus again 60. Why? Because the person is going from Kunal to Dinesh and then again from Dinesh to Prashant. So it would be basically 25, 40, 60, another 60 and 30. So if we add this up, it gives me how much? It gives me, this is 5, and then this is 6 and 6, 12, 12 and 3, 15, 15 and 4 is 19 and 19 and 2 is 21. So it gives me a total of 215 meters, that is option C. Idea clear everybody? So this is all with your chapter of direction sense. I hope everything is clear. So that's all. Let's conclude with this then. Thank you.